In life, one should always be financially prepared for any situation. However, spontaneous purchases and unforeseen events can disrupt one's financial stability, highlighting the importance of a sinking fund and an emergency fund. To comfortably make large purchases, the first step is to plan for them using a sinking fund.
A sinking fund is a pool of money that is set aside for a specific goal. And the main reason for sinking funds is to avoid emergency need of large sums of money. When you look at it historically, it traces itself back to the 13th century with Italian city-states, where they would want to set money aside to meet their debt. And it was picked up in the 18th century by Great Britain and later on became popularized with the United States.
For unexpected events, on the other hand, an emergency fund comes in handy.
So, definition of emergency funds has it being a pool of money set aside for no specific goal, but it has that aspect of it expecting, let's say, 2 or 3 months of your normal expenses. It has to cover that. Emergency funds traces its roots way further with the prehistorical history of men, with the agricultural history, where they would set aside surplus food for unexpected weather conditions in future.
To secure your financial independence, it is important that one does not merge the sinking fund with the emergency fund.
One reason why someone would want to have both a sinking fund and an emergency fund would be for peace of mind. You can imagine knowing that you can meet day-to-day unexpected events coming up, you would sleep better. The other reason would be for budgeting efficiency, because with sinking fund, you know an X amount of money on a given period of time is needed to be injected there. Now you can efficiently allocate your income based on the needs that you foresee. Again, the other reason would be in terms of getting clarity and demarcating your money. There's a common problem that people have, which is mental accounting. You just know I have X amount of money in there is rent, in there is emergency, in there is say a car that I'd want to buy 3 years from now. But then once you separate, you remove these risks that come with mental accounting.
It is important to note that having both funds will require some level of planning on your part. This is often guided by your priorities.
One of the most efficient ways has to be sticking to a budget. First, looking at your day-to-day expenses, then from there you'll see the surplus that you have. Then next would be what comes first. Do you already have an emergency fund in place? Then a sinking fund will come next as a priority. But then if you don't have a sinking fund, you know, the question of the egg and the chicken, which comes first, you'd have to set up the emergency fund. So budgeting will be key, and second to budgeting is sticking to the budget, which is one difficult word called discipline. Sticking to your budget and narrowing down miscellaneous expenses. An efficient way of minimizing inefficiencies with budgeting would be by ensuring you have a check-off system, which enables you to automate your allocation towards, say, your emergency fund and your sinking fund.
To ensure each of the funds serves its purpose, separating them is the best approach.
While combining the sinking fund and emergency fund sounds easy and quite simple in terms of dealing with monies, it carries the risk of mental accounting, where you know within my larger 300,000, 200,000 is channeled towards my education needs, 100,000 is just for unexpected. You'd find moving and putting your fingers into the cookie jar is easier because all this lump sum is in one. To really stress in and push the boundaries with discipline and consistency, putting them separately will be key.
To add value to the money you save, consider financial instruments that can boost its worth.
One of the things about both funds that you should take advantage of is interest, and this comes in by investing. you'd find with interest first, it shields you from that risk of inflation. And second, it gives you that benefit of compounding, because in addition to your principal is bringing in some little babies over a period of time.
Building these funds does not require a lot of money. You can start with any amount.
You can always start from somewhere. There is no set limit, say even 50 shillings a month, all the way up to 50 million a month, depending on your financial capabilities. You can always start somewhere. And a journey of 1,000 miles, as they say, always starts with one step.